We're seeing in the collective consciousness all the shadow aspects of humanity up right now. And it's like it's all playing out in an extreme way, I think, to support us in seeing it, healing it, clearing it. And certainly in our individual lives, that's what we're experiencing. But it's also, it means that we have this capacity to heal in a much more rapid way. When I was working as a clinical psychologist back in the 90s, there was the sense that we slog through some of these core childhood issues and traumas, and it takes us years to work it through. And now I see how people are just rapidly healing, clearing, moving more fully into their true selves. It's beautiful to see. And I think that's related to these energies that are helping us move through this time of transition and transmutation. So my process was a lot slower than that.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you for paving the way, though. I mean, the time speeding up piece, sorry, I just wanted to zoom a light in on that just before we, because that's really interesting to be talking to yourself who has the awareness of like astrological cycles, and it does feel like time is speeding up. Like, honestly, in my mind, it's March and it's almost July. Like it's, like I'm struggling with that a little bit in 2025, actually keeping up with the actual just dates on the calendar. And also there's this, in the shamanistic worldview, like they actually have this ability to work with time, which I don't fully completely understand, but I'd love for you to speak to if you could.
Well, I do think that ancient wisdom and shamanic understanding is that we can shift timelines. We're not bound by linear time. But I also believe that the ancient wisdom of indigenous people and shamans is that ability to shapeshift, to also realize we can not only move through time and not be bound by third dimensional linear time, but we're not bound by this shape. We can become an eagle or become a tree or become a whale and experience the myriad expressions of cosmic consciousness. We can dance in time and form. But I think that that's some of what we lost connection with. But all of that, I believe, will start coming back, that awareness, that remembrance, that ability, as the Peruvian shamans would say, to become homo luminous ones, beings of light. So I think that we're in that shift, but what we're needing to do to get into that higher consciousness is clear the heavy energies that weigh us down and bind us in these out of balance patterns from the past.
1993. What happened to you?
So, and as I was mentioning to you before we got on the recording, we've both had those critical crisis points. For me, I was 37. I was well established in my practice as a clinical psychologist. And I did love that work. It was in alignment with my path until I started both to feel the constraints of traditional psychology and felt like there's got to be more. There have to be other ways of supporting people in healing. And I also realized I was getting more and more out of balance in my own life in terms of getting burnt out, working too hard, not really listening to my deeper self. And it was out of that I had that profound mystical experience. And hearing that voice within me, you need to leave your life as you've known it, or you will die. And I knew with every fiber of my being that was true. But what it meant was then across the next 6 months, I'm dismantling my practice. I'm selling my home. I'm preparing to move across the country to, I don't know quite what. And it was it was a very challenging time. And there were times I was just overcome with anxiety because I'm leaving everything that seems safe and secure and what I've established and built. And you can imagine that so many of my colleagues and friends were like, well, what are you doing? And in the midst of that, and I love how we're guided and supported by the cosmos through signs and synchronicities. But I would, when I was really most overwhelmed and anxious, I would go out in this little garden behind my home. And over again, this little hummingbird would come and hover right in front of me. And I felt it was saying, it's going to be okay, trust, stay on your path. And the day that I actually moved and left California to go to the East Coast, the hummingbird came one more time. She hovered right in front of me and then flew east. And I didn't realize till years later, when I was studying with the Peruvian shamans, that they see the meaning of the hummingbird as follow your path of destiny with joy. So in this amazing way, this hummingbird was saying, you're on your path. Stay in trust. Stay in that joy of being in alignment with your soul self and that inner knowing, and dare to be in the mystery, to be in the not knowing. It really taught me the meaning of being in the liminal times, which is where the most transformation and healing happens, where we leave one way of being and we don't just suddenly move into a new way of being. We go through this transition of dissolution and reconfiguration, like the caterpillar going into the chrysalis to become the butterfly. And it was really in that liminal time that I went through the most time of transformation and healing.
Hey there, Inspired Evolutionary. If you absolutely love this, well then here's a full conversation with this guest on the Inspired Evolution podcast. Check it out now.